It's the same take I had with Assassin's Creed Shadows, where I was actually defending Ubisoft, and God, mark this day down, where I was just like, yeah, Yasuke should be able to destroy the religious areas, and people are getting mad at me.
I thought so as well.
People were like, no, that's sacrilegious. That's something really meaningful in Japan. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's also a fucking video game, bro. Like, how far are you gonna push this shit? Like, what are we doing here?
It's one thing. Like when the when that little
hold on, real quick. Kira says heading to bed 2:30 in Atlanta. Chat total is 7:30:28. Shout out to Kira in Atlanta, which is the home base of, I believe, Delta Airlines. And she said she used to work for Delta when I saw an upside down Delta plane today. So glad you're safe and doing well. Shout out to Kira. Thank you for all your work tonight. Appreciate you and have a great night. Sorry, go on, Leon.
No, you're good. Catch you later, Kira. Sweet dreams. Yeah, no. I was saying that when the statue was released of the broken Torii gates, like the problem wasn't that this is a broken Torii gate. The problem was the historical context behind it. That they didn't know that it was a World War II symbol, not a feudal Japan symbol. But as far as in game being able to destroy, like destructible environments have been a thing in video games since like the PS2 era, if not earlier. And I don't see a problem in a video game to be able to that has destructible environments to be able to just like.
How about this as a counter? What Darksis says to you here, or to me actually, but what you're saying, Smash JT, if you want to make it that you can destroy sacrilegious stuff, you would need consequences within the game as a feature. And I actually don't disagree with that. To not break immersion, that actually would be something I'd be on board with. That would actually be like a cool, like it could totally fuck your game over and stuff like that. I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea. I'm on board with that. I'm just saying, when you start limiting what you can do in a game, I don't like that. I feel like that's censorship. I don't like that.
The only thing, and this is not me defending Ubisoft, but the only thing I think would be difficult about this, I think even for good coders back in the golden age of games, would be difficult. Is like, let's say you're in an encounter where you're in one of those religious areas, like, oh, so you're going to kill the bad guys, but because you destroyed some pews and stuff like that in the middle of it, you're also going to get arrested. Like, you still destroy the bad guys. Like, it seems like it'd be very difficult for the game to parse through code wise, like whether something was done intentionally versus on accident because you're mid combat.
That's a good point. And I would argue that's kind of one of the faults of modern gaming, where you could argue retro gaming had limits to what it could even display and show, and people were a lot more forgiving because it was like, yeah, what do you expect? The game only has like 8 megabits. What's it going to be able to even do? Like, come on. And
commercial, man. You play the Ratchet and Clank games back in the day on PS2?
Yeah.
Long time. Everything was destructible because everything would give you bolts. Like, you could effectively terraform a fucking map.
That's
like,
a good point. But I feel like it's like in the context of the game world, it makes sense. And I think that's the difference. Whereas, like, people would argue the context of the game world with Assassin's Creed Shadows is like, no, Yasuke would never do that, so you shouldn't let him do that. And I'm like, I get that. I see both sides of the argument. I'm not trying to play the fence here. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's a video game, and you are playing the role of this character. And if Yasuke would never do that, then don't do it. And if he would, and you want to do it, do it. Like, it's a video game. Like, the people that these are the people that can't separate real life from a game. And that's like, that's a major concern I've always had when it comes to gaming. But
yeah, never mind.
Please continue.
I was going to say, well, did you see the journos freaking out, like in a positive freak out? Like, they're so excited about, like, you can cut the bamboo. I was like, bitch, I could fucking destroy a car in Street Fighter 2. Like, what do you mean? Right. It's not a big deal. You can cut the destructible environments. It was just so wild. They're trying to take these
out of their way to try to prop it up. They're like, look at what it can do.
Yeah, like we were able to do this in 2001. It's 2025. The fuck are you talking about?
Right. But there is a controversy around that whole religious site thing, which, by the way, kind of leads back to the whole main topic of the major stream that we're doing tonight, is why I kind of fell hook, line, and sinker with that email, is because I'm like, okay, this is a topic that's being chatted, conversed about, like shared. People are talking about their thoughts with this. Ubisoft is clearly aware of it. So now they're actually doing something about it. So they need to delay it. Okay, this makes sense. I get like all the stuff that was shared with me was logical with what was transpiring. Again, I go back to it's clear as day to me that they were trying to catch me in a gotcha because they did everything that fit a narrative and fit the puzzle pieces perfectly for me to let it slide through.
They weren't feeding your confirmation bias. They were feeding a okay, people use bias as a bad thing. No. But bias just means that you've got a feeling towards something based on evidence you've come to. So they were feeding your bias with information that exists that makes sense as to why you came to that conclusion. Right. It wasn't because of an agenda. It was because of a evidence-based bias.
That's fair. That's fair. And just on the topic, I'll skip ahead to this one. Lonesome Poetry for the 5 says, I would argue that whether you can or can't destroy a religious place should depend on when in history the game takes place.
Can you expound on that? Because I don't know what the time period has to do with why it would be okay or not okay to destroy something.
I don't either.
Not going to say you're wrong out the gate. I just don't see the correlation.
I'm the same perspective. I'm just like, well, I keep going back to like, when we start imposing morals on what we're allowed to do in a game, it starts to break immersion from being a gamer and being able to play the game the way you want.
And that's also what the woke left have done, is try and impose morals on a game, which is why we would never get something like Duke Nukem 3D today, because that wouldn't fucking be allowed because they've imposed those morals. So
right, 100%. But yeah, I don't know if some Poetry has any other thoughts on that, but yeah, that's
I don't know if they respond.
What's that? You'll watch it? Okay. I was gonna say I don't know if the time has anything to do with it. To me at least. I just look at it like it is what it is. It's a game. And if people are gonna start
okay, they said think like whether or not things like the Geneva Convention are in place. So you're saying whether it would affect the historical accuracy of the game? Is that what you're getting at?
Like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, again, how far are we going here? You know what I mean? Like, if the game lets you destroy environments, but then like it's the same thing with the mod with Skyrim you were talking about, where you add the kid kill mod. Like, it's like if you can kill the adult, why can't you kill the kid? Like in Assassin's Creed, if you can cut the bamboo, why can't you? And you can break other things in destructible environments. Why can't you break the tables in the church, but you can break them outside the church? What are we doing here? Why? Because when you start putting the red tape on it, then it starts limiting other things, and then you get to a point where the game is just like a cutscene game that you don't even do anything.
Here's the answer I'd have, because Lonesome Potexi said yes. Basically, my statement was what he means. In an RPG, that I think it doesn't matter. You should be able to do whatever because you're playing a role. However, let's say it's like just a regular action game. Let's say it's something like Devil May Cry, not Devil May Cry, but something like Devil May Cry. And let's say your character in lore is a stalwart Christian. If you try and attack a cross, your attack won't even come out. Like it won't, because it's out of character. And something like Devil May Cry, you're not role playing. Dante's a character, and he's a specific character. He would do certain things. So if the game flat out doesn't let you, it's because it would be out of character for said characters. And there are games that do that. Like if you go to attack an NPC, it won't let you. But if you attack an enemy, it will let you.
I agree, but I never liked that either.
Oh, really?
I guess that's my point. Is so I'm like, if unless I'll give a game this. If it's like a situation where you accidentally would do it all the time and you don't want to, and it becomes a nuisance and it breaks like the actual enjoyment of the game because you're hurting the gameplay by doing it, I get it. But if it's like a one-off, it's like, why are we doing that? I feel like there's a gray area, and that's where the nuance.
Well, I think so. I'm going to use an example of my favorite game of all time, Sonic Adventure. In Sonic Adventure, you can obviously kill the enemies. You spin dash, you homing attack, whatever. It kills them. You can attack the NPCs, but they just sort of like shield themselves, and it breaks immersion because like, It's killing the bad guys, but they're just reacting to it. But I also know that Sonic as a character would never kill a human because that's out of character form. So I'm like, okay, having them react to it.
At least they react to it. They're like,
yeah, they react, they throw their hands up. So I'm like, okay, that's a happy middle ground for me.
Yeah, I like that. I'm okay with that. As long as they react to it. It's the ones where it's just like they just don't even move when you do stuff.
No, that's just lazy fucking game design.
Yep, exactly. All right, cool. Thank you so much for that question, because that brought us down another rabbit hole I meant to talk about too. So we got Pre-Dawn Corpse for the 2-banger, says smash, drop kick yourself in the eyes. Here's the thing, by the way, fun fact. I painted my son's room, ripped off the floor carpet, installed flooring, siding, put a bed together, put a bureau together over the past 2 days. My thighs and ass hurt so much right now. Like, it feels so good to just
I'm gonna be real. I have a bit of a reputation for some of the things I've said on accident. I have nothing to do with this.
There's context, guys. Don't clip it. There's context. Damn it. I'm just saying. I was like moaning like when I got out of bed this morning.
Damn it, dude.
I know. Here's the thing I've learned. If you just keep going, there's too much to clip. But I was like, my wife was like, really? You're being so over the top right now. I'm like, no, you don't understand how much pain I'm in right now. I'm so out of shape. Anime Mania. Hey, yo, what? Damon Carroll says, this is going to Hypno. God damn it. Anyways, shout out to Pre-Dawn Corpse for getting me clipped. Eric Jenkins to the 2. What they don't got in fat, they got in cat.
I won't lie. I don't. Oh, this is about the vegan bitch. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There we go. Darken for the 2. I am the melty blood.
That's dope. I don't know what it means, but that's dope.
Ash Archer for the 5. Anarchy will never work. Someone will take the podium.
Okay, so that's. I'm gonna make this real brief because the stream does not need to devolve into what anarchy does or doesn't mean. Anarchy does not mean that somebody won't
Rage against the machine.
Yeah. No, you can have a leader of sorts in anarchy, but they're not an elected official. They're not the end all be all. People can challenge them at any point. Basically, because you imagine this, everyone's got a group of friends, right? You've got a group of 4 or 5 friends. One friend naturally becomes the leader just because they are the most charismatic. They're the one that comes up with the ideas. The one that says, hey, let's get together and go to the mall, or get together and play Magic together, and everybody else goes along with it. It wasn't really it wasn't voted on. It was just sort of naturally occurred because of how the herd has their own social hierarchies. So somebody taking the podium in an anarchistic society, that's why it works in basically you and your group of friends. When you hang out, you're all anarchists together in that regard, because you're making your emotions just based on natural hierarchies of people's charisma.
That's fair. And just a quick shout out to Hypnotic and Rapture. It says, you need knee pads when you're on your knees. I did have knee pads on. Just saying. And we got B-Man says we're at 750. We are 250 away from tier 3, which is insane because I didn't think we'd be coming close to tier 3 tonight, but we're 250 away. It could theoretically happen. It could. If someone gets crazy up in this bitch, it could happen. But shout out to Ash Archer for the 5. Appreciate you. Nightmare for the 2 says Leon's even more based than I thought. Look at this guy. Oh, mods, if you don't mind sharing Leon again, his channel. He is awesome. Love this guy. Love his takes. I don't always agree with him, and that's why I love this guy, because I
say the exact same about you or Hypno or anyway. That's why SNH is so fucking golden. Is that we all have different schools of thought, despite what the left or the wokies or everyone portray us as.
And not to be the guy that's in your comment section, but sometimes you say stuff and it does change my mind. So you are good at that. That's a talent.
Actually, I had the same thought as you about the new Game Awards when it came to starting correct stuff until I saw your video on why it changed your mind, and I was like, "Fuck, it does make sense."
Thank you.
Yeah, he changed mine as well.
I saw Furtanga do a video on it, like shitting on me for being like, "Oh, look, Smash used to say it was bad, and then he realized he could grift off it too, so now he says it's good." And I'm like, "No, that's not why."
You have made videos about why your mind was changed. About you've done it
Yeah,
multiple times. And every single time that you've changed your mind, you didn't just flip flop because it was popular. You very eloquently laid out why your mind was changed, and it made sense.
And I could go through it again here, but it's like a 12-minute video. And if I start talking about it again, we're going to go for 12 minutes or more because it's a live stream. And I feel like I wouldn't get my thoughts out clearly. Things would get clipped out of context. I'm like, just watch my video on it, please. That's my take. I was very happy with how I explained it. But clearly the people that are upset at me for changing my mind either willfully ignored that video or watched it and were like, yeah, it doesn't matter anyway.
It's honestly probably the latter. They watched it and didn't care because there's a preconceived notion of who you are or what you are. Yes. Yeah. People don't want to have their minds. I would say the majority of people don't want to have their minds changed, which is why audiences like what we've got or like Hypno's got, or audiences that are inherently not an echo chamber are the most not only important but also loyal audiences on the platform, because I have people disagreeing with me and my comments all the fucking time. They come back for video after video. I assume you get the same. I know for fact Hypno gets the same. Oh, yeah. So like that's we are able to, because of authenticity, cultivate audiences that know that they're not going to get like banned for disagreeing with us or anything like that.
100%. Eric Jenkins for the 2. Let's not talk about that. I think that was in reference to the Assassin's Creed Shadows religious site. Reprobate Renegade for the 2 says we should be able to burn rainbow flags in games too. I agree.
We should be able to burn, assuming the game has burn mechanics, American flags, Puerto Rican flags, LGBT flags, whatever.
I was gonna say, as long as the game in the game world matches it and it has some mechanics for it, it should allow it for all of it. Yes, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. But if we're going to start making like, oh, you need to make a mechanic for this, it's like, well, okay, now you're going to start, you need to make a mechanic just to be able to burn a flag. That's kind of fucking weird. like what about burning other stuff? No, I just want to be able to burn the flag. I'm like, that's kind of weird. What are we doing now?
Well, Spyro the Dragon. So in Spyro 2, or maybe it's 3, whenever you start a world, every level, like at the entrance points, have the flags of that world, and at the end of the level where the arch is, they've got the flags of that world again. And in every single one, you could light the flag on fire and burn it. Wouldn't it be weird if there's just like 1 or 2 random worlds where you couldn't burn the flag? Like that'd be so fucking strange.
Like imagine if it was like the LGB flag that they had on those worlds and you couldn't. It'd be like, what the hell? Like, why can't you? So yeah, 100%. Ash Archer for the 5 says, Leon, is cyberpunk an anarcho-capitalist wet dream for you?
If you're talking about the game Cyberpunk, like the video game, I haven't played it. But the cyberpunk genre is my favorite genre of fiction. I love cyberpunk books. Most of the stories I write are set in a cyberpunk world. I think that is cyberpunk is when anarcho-capitalism, oftentimes, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of times anarcho-capitalism goes wrong, which of course has the ability to do so. But yes, I do love cyberpunk stories, and I want to play the cyberpunk games. I'm a tabletop RPG junkie. I also want to play the cyberpunk tabletop RPG because I never have. I've played many a tabletop RPG, but never cyberpunk for whatever reason. But yeah, when it comes to books and television shows and movies, all-time favorite genre.
What are your thoughts
on setting? It's not a genre, but setting.
What are your thoughts on steampunk?
I like steampunk. I just like steampunk is so old world, and so the technology is usually like more old school, and like that's cool for a setting, but I like the futuristic shit. But I like both. I just like cyberpunk more.
Yeah, that's fair. You ever play
cyberpunk looks cooler?
You ever play any of the SteamWorld games, the SteamWorld Universe games?
I don't think so. What are some of the SteamWorld Universe games? Do you have like names?
SteamWorld, SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Heist, SteamWorld Heist 2.
No, but hold on. Let me just do a quick.
So I would recommend everyone in the chat. One of my favorite games of all time that no one ever
Because
talks about.
Bioshock is Bioshock's very steampunk. I love
Oh, yeah,
Bioshock.
no, absolutely. Yeah.
Bioshock's one of my favorite game series of all fucking time. Well, first one's one of my favorite games of all time. 2 is still pretty good. Fuck the third one. Infinite sucks.
First off, you're wrong. But secondly, refer to point one. No, so Steam World Heist, it's not necessarily steampunk because it's just literally robots, but it has like, it feels like steampunk kind of. But yeah, BioShock for sure is more steampunk.
So I won't say Infinite sucks. I'll explain why I don't like Infinite. When you play the first Bioshock game, it's a horror game. The first Bioshock is a horror game. Bioshock 2 still is, but to a lesser extent because since you're a big daddy, you've got you've got a bit more.
I never played
2. 2 is story-wise actually probably the worst, but by Infinite they sort of just forewent horror. Horror was for, and I'm.
It's more like an adventure game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when it comes to video games, horror games are my favorite. And so they took out my favorite thing about BioShock with the third game. So the story of Infinite is actually a really good story. I just don't like the removal of the horror aspects.
I loved Infinite because horror is not my favorite genre, but I like it. But I like the adventure, and I was surprised with the direction Infinite took. I'll put it that way. And I really liked the way it went.
So. Oh, Infinite's one of the most clever ways to do a time travel story. Does it way better than Avengers Endgame or whatever, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it the credit there. It doesn't actually suck. I was just being
I know
because I like horror games, but yeah, no. Oh, by the way, Liza P was one of the best. Liza P is the game that got me into Souls-like games.
I called it Liza Pi the other day, and everyone dragged me for it. But I have not played Liza Pi, so
it is the game because I'd only ever played Dark Souls 2, and I was doing Drunk Souls where every time you die you take a shot, and I just about died in real fucking life. This is back in 2016, 2017, and that was my only experience with the Souls-like ever until Liza P, and Liza P is like, oh, I get why people like Souls. Like, holy shit, this is amazing.
We got we already talked about this one from Lonesome Potsy, and then we got PD for the 2 says Ultima 6, DOS, and Shadowrun SNES had a karma system. I think a karma system worked really well with destroying religious sites. I think that's a really good idea. That would be a good workaround, a karma system. But then again, this is Ubisoft we're talking about, so PD follows that up saying, if you killed innocents, you were denied services. See, I like that. See, that prevents you from doing it, but you can also do it. It's very realistic. I like that.
Yes, I agree.
That's a nice coup de grace. I probably didn't use that in the right.
Yeah, coup de grace is like a final kill.
Yeah, that's a nice coup de grace. Just double down on it. Mugsikins to the 5. Samurai live by a code. That code wouldn't allow them to destroy temples. So it makes sense for him not to destroy shrines, temples in the game.
I have 2 answers to this. 1, he's not a samurai. And 2,
I like that one.
The code didn't allow them to do so. However, historically speaking, a lot of them still did. Like specifically during the pre-Meiji era war, a lot of them did.